News about TADALAFIL, the famous compound known for keeping men harder for much longer, making them last longer in bed, and restoring the confidence that many thought was lost forever. And no, that is not an exaggeration. The problem is that almost no one has explained this to you the right way. If you use TADALAFIL, have used it, or are thinking about using it, pay close attention to what I am about to tell you. TADALAFIL is one of the most powerful and studied medications for male sexual health, but it only works effectively when a man understands how it actually behaves inside the body. TADALAFIL is not just a pill to lift the penis. It acts on the vessels, on circulation, on the relaxation of penile muscles, and on the way blood enters and remains there. When used correctly, it allows for firmer erections, longer-lasting performance, and, most importantly, a more natural experience. It restores confidence and vitality. Stay here with me. TADALAFIL acts directly on the blood circulation of the penis. It increases the availability of a substance called nitric oxide, which is the primary agent responsible for dilating penile blood vessels. In other words, it helps the arteries of the penis to relax, open up, and let blood enter with much greater ease. And even more importantly, it helps this blood stay there for a longer time. This is what sustains a firm and durable erection. But pay close attention to this, because here lies a classic mistake. TADALAFIL does not create desire. It does not flip the libido switch on its own. If there is no stimulus, visual, physical, mental, or emotional, nothing happens. The penis does not work like a light bulb that turns on just because you flipped a switch. It responds to signals from the brain. TADALAFIL merely facilitates this response when the stimulus already exists. The onset time usually varies between 40 minutes and 1 hour after ingestion. The peak effect generally happens between 2 and 3 hours later. And here is the great differentiator compared to other medications in the same class. The effect can last up to 36 hours. That is why many men report a sense of freedom, of not needing to schedule a specific time for sex. The mind relaxes, the body responds better, and anxiety decreases. And that, in itself, already drastically improves performance. That is why the perspective needs to shift. TADALAFIL is not just a remedy for an erection. It is a remedy to remove the psychological weight of performance. When a man stops living under pressure, the body cooperates. When he feels safer, the sexual response improves naturally. However, this prolonged duration also demands responsibility. Just because the effect lasts longer doesn't mean a man should take it carelessly, mixing it with excessive alcohol or using higher doses, thinking it will supercharge the effect. The wrong dose does not increase benefits, it increases side effects. Now, let's get to what men want to know most, and what almost no one explains correctly: how to use TADALAFIL the right way. And what is new and most current regarding this medication? There are 2 intelligent ways to use TADALAFIL, and the choice should not be made on impulse, nor by a friend's recommendation, nor by a random internet video. When use is on demand, the pill is usually taken about an hour before intimacy. This method is very common among men who have more spaced-out relationships or who are still testing their body's response. The effect comes, it stays for hours, and it gives that sense of security that removes the fear of failure. On the other hand, daily use, in a lower dose, has completely changed the lives of many men over 40. This method is indicated for those who want spontaneity, for those who no longer want to live planning sex or depending on taking a pill at the exact right moment. With continuous use, the organism maintains a stable concentration of the substance. Penile circulation improves day after day, and the man starts to respond better to stimuli naturally. Many report more frequent erections, firmer erections, and even more intense morning erections as the weeks go by. And here enters a major update. More recent studies show that the daily use of TADALAFIL can bring benefits beyond the erection. It acts on the smooth muscle of the prostate and the bladder, helping men who suffer from weak urinary flow, the sensation of a full bladder, or waking up several times at night to urinate. Many people start using it for their sexual life and are surprised by the urinary improvement, something that directly impacts quality of life. Another relevant update is the understanding that TADALAFIL can also improve the health of blood vessels in general. There are indications of improvement in endothelial function, which is the inner lining of the vessels. This means more efficient circulation, which does not benefit only the penis, but the entire vascular system. Studies are still evolving, but the results are encouraging. Now, I need to be firm with you on one point. There is no universal dose. More is not better. The right dose is the one that works for your body with a minimum of side effects. Different men respond in different ways. Age, diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiovascular history, use of other medications, all of this changes the response. Now it is time to talk seriously about risks, side effects, and who cannot use TADALAFIL. The most common side effects tend to be headaches, nasal congestion, that sensation of a stuffy nose all the time, facial flushing, muscle aches, and back pain, especially in the legs. Some men also report gastric discomfort, heartburn, or burning sensations. Most of the time, these symptoms are mild and pass on their own. But there are cases where they become intense, to the point of preventing continuous use. And here is an important detail. When side effects are very strong, it is usually not an intolerance to the medicine. It is the wrong dose for that specific body. Therefore, adjusting the dose is fundamental. Suffering in silence or simply abandoning the treatment without guidance is a common error. However, I know many of you are tired of relying on pills that leave you with pounding headaches or simply mask the problem without fixing the root cause. If you are looking for a way to naturally restore rock-hard erections and unclog your arteries without dangerous pharmaceuticals, you need to see this. There is a bizarrely simple, 7-second daily habit, a specific purple tonic, that targets the boner killer enzyme in your body naturally. It's helping thousands of men reverse ED issues without the nasty side effects we just talked about. I've put a QR code on the screen right now. Go ahead and point your phone's camera at it to watch a short presentation explaining exactly how this 7-second remedy works. I also pinned the link to the top of the comments for you. If you want to fix the plumbing instead of just patching it, check that out. Now, if you do choose to stick with the medication, care is also needed regarding continuous use without monitoring. TADALAFIL does not substitute for controlling blood pressure, diabetes, or cholesterol, nor does it correct a sedentary lifestyle. It helps, but it does not fix a neglected body. When a man uses it as a crutch and ignores the rest, the effect tends to drop over time. Now, I want to tell you what is most current regarding TADALAFIL and what almost no one discusses outside the doctor's office. This medication has ceased to be viewed merely as something to get the penis up and has started to be studied as an ally of male health as a whole. Recent research shows that TADALAFIL can improve the function of the endothelium. Translating this into direct language, healthier vessels conduct blood better. And when circulation improves, the penis responds better, the heart suffers less, and the body functions more efficiently. It is not by chance that many specialists already view erectile dysfunction as a warning sign for vascular health. And TADALAFIL enters as part of a larger strategy, not as an isolated solution. There are also studies evaluating possible neuroprotective effects, especially in conditions linked to cerebral aging. This is not yet an official indication, nor a ready-made prescription, but the signs point out that the medication may have benefits beyond the obvious. This reinforces something crucial. The penis is not separated from the rest of the body. When general health improves, the sexual response follows. Another very common doubt is about the use of TADALAFIL in women. There are ongoing studies, mainly related to female genital circulation, but to date, there is no solid proof of broad benefit. In other words, there is no strong scientific basis to indicate TADALAFIL as a solution for female desire or performance. Correct information prevents frustration. And I need to touch on a delicate point: self-medication. Easy access has made many men treat TADALAFIL as if it were just any supplement. This has trivialized a serious medication. Taking it without evaluation, mixing it with other substances, using it for years without monitoring, all of this comes at a price. The body gives signals, but many ignore them until they become a bigger problem. The man who uses TADALAFIL the right way does not live dependent on it. He uses it as a tool while correcting what really matters: circulation, hormones, sleep, diet, stress, and self-esteem. That is what sustains true performance. To close this conversation honestly and responsibly, I want you to keep one thing in mind. Tadalafil is a powerful ally, but it is not a miraculous shortcut. It works best when a man stops fighting against his own body and starts to understand how it functions. When well indicated, at the correct dose, and within a context of healthcare, it restores firmness, confidence, and tranquility. The man returns to feeling in control, without that constant fear of failing, without that silent pressure that destroys pleasure. And that changes everything. It changes the relationship. It changes the posture. It changes even the way he sees himself. On the other hand, when used irresponsibly, tadalafil becomes just another palliative measure. It resolves the issue in the moment, but it does not sustain it in the long run. And what we see over decades of observation is that the man who really improves is the one who decides to take care of himself entirely, not just of the erection. If you have listened until here, it is because this subject speaks to you, and that is already an important step. Correct information liberates, removes guilt, removes fear, and restores the power of decision. Continue seeking to understand your body, your health, and your choices. Sexual performance is a consequence, not the starting point.